Hello friends, I can sense that you are surprised. Why is Gaurav sir not taking your class? Well, that is because this is an English class. Gaurav sir had helped me improve my logical reasoning skills and he had requested me to take this class for you. Before we begin, I wish to give you fun facts about Gaurav sir. A. He is himself an MBA graduate from a premier B school of India. B. He works with a Maharatna PSU. C. He helped me crack a PSU exam by making me practice LR the right way. So let's begin an introduction for your English practice. Now there are four main types of questions that are asked in any English entrance exam. A. Word meanings based exam. B. Grammar based exam. C. Comprehension based exam. Fourth, a combination of these types. Now, why do you need to study for this? An entrance exam usually has a quantitative section, a logical reasoning and DI section, and also an English section. Scoring in each of the sections in an entrance exam is usually necessary because there often is sectional cutoff also, apart from the total marks that you are required to score in an exam. Now first we'll take the reading comprehension based type of section. I'll introduce it to you. In a reading comprehension based part, you are given a passage. The passage is followed by questions that have multiple choice types answers. Now why is this section important and why I am taking this first? Because this is nowadays the largest part of an English exam typically, be it CAT, be it RBI Grade B exam. This is usually the largest part. Multiple passages and Q&A sets are given in an English entrance exam these days. Additionally, you need not be very good in English to crack this section. For example, for word meaning based type questions, you need to be good with word meanings. For grammar type of questions, you need to be good with grammar. But in this part, in reading comprehension type of questions, if you are able to read well and understand what the author is trying to say, and if you read the questions well, you will be able to attempt this well. Now, there are four types of passages. This is something you usually do not need to know for an exam, but I saw an RBI Grade B exam of 2018 which had asked what type of passage is given. So I'm explaining the types of passage. This is a good to know knowledge for you. So there is an expository type of passage where the author's idea is to explain or inform about a subject. For example, news typically inform about this is the incident that happened, that is something that happened, then this happened. So, this is an information that is given in a news piece. Technical documents, this is to be done, then this is to be done, then this is to be done, all those kinds of things. Or say if they are explaining what a car look like, what does our solar system look like, that explanation or information is an expository passage. Persuasive passages. Here, the author is trying to influence the reader. For example, advertorials are often persuasive, like why you should visit why you should watch a particular movie, or why you should stay in a particular resort, or why you should purchase an item. If there's a huge passage for it, most probably the author is trying to influence you to take go for that thing. Often, like if we say, please decrease the taxes, and we are making our case, that is also a persuasive type of passage where an author is trying to influence, say, the government. Then there is a narrative passage, in which a passage is trying to tell you a story. The story can be fact or fiction. For example, all novels can fall in this category of narrative type because story is being told, but it need not only be fiction. For example, if your grandmother tells you about your past, that's a true story, but it's also a story. So that will also fall under this narrative type of passage. Now, the last type of passage is descriptive passage. Here, an author is trying to paint a picture for a reader. He's trying to involve your five senses. Like, for example, he would say the garden was green, there were beautiful flowers all over, the fragrance was amazing, and all those. He will try to involve your senses. So, that is a descriptive type of passage. He will help you visualize what he wants to tell you. Sometimes a passage can fall in multiple categories. For example, say a person wants you to stay in a resort. He will paint that picture for you. That resort has these types of cottages, brown and yellow. It has a huge garden, but it will also be persuasive why you should go there. In such a case, how do you decide the passage? It depends on the intent of the author. For example, in an advertorial like this, it is very likely the author wants you to go to that resort. So the dominant category for that passage will be persuasive, but we can say it is also going to be descriptive. The dominant category, however, will be persuasive. Now, types of questions that follow a reading comprehension passage. A very important type of question is where they ask you theme of the passage. It can be in few words or it can be in few sentences. They'll ask you choose the best summaries uh, for the given passage. Choose which one of the below will be the best summary, or choose how will you define the theme of the passage, or they will even give you three different themes. The theme it could be it it is to arouse the reader, or it is to inform the reader that in this theme the intent also becomes the type of passage also becomes important here. So theme is what do you get from the passage, what do you infer from the passage. Then the second type of questions are questions with straightforward answers. An incident must be described in a passage or something. A description might be given in passage, and they'll ask you from that passage a question. Now, the idea is locate similar words or similar meaning words that are given in question. You will be able to come to the answer straight away because these are going to be multiple choice answers. They will not be difficult to answer if you're able to locate similar meaning words as asked in the question. These must be attempted and these must not be left because here you don't have to infer. You just have to figure out where in that passage that point was made, what was asked in the question. Third is questions in which answers are to be inferred. What do you think the author meant when he said that? That is the kind of question that is where the question wants to see what you wanted to infer. Are you able to infer correctly what the author wanted to say? So you have to read the passage and understand the question to answer such questions. Fourth are word meaning based questions. What they'll do is they'll maybe identify a word in the passage and say from the below identify similar meaning words or alternatively opposite meaning words. It can also be vice versa. They'll give you a word, say find the word in the passage which means the same as this word or similar to this word. Or they can give you a word and say find a word in the passage that means opposite to this one. Word meanings always remain important, but in a passage they are more easy to identify because many a times we are able to infer what are the word meanings from the passage. Now, comprehension passages, you can either start by reading the passage, then going to the questions, and then going back to the passage again. Alternatively, you can read the questions first and then go to the passage. I prefer the latter because usually we are hard pressed for time in an entrance exam, and if you read the questions, you know how to read the passage. But people who are not as confident in English, they prefer the first method where they read the passage first, then go to the questions, and then go back to the passage as required. Next, we come to word meaning based questions. They are often pretty straightforward. Choose words that are similar in meaning. Uh, like, for example, tough. And there could be four words: daunting, relaxed, comfortable, inspiring. So, which one would be similar in meaning? Daunting and difficult might be similar in meaning. Choose words that are opposite in meaning. Again, like this, for example, the word is daunting, and the words given below are difficult, inspiring, uh, comfortable, whatever one more word. So comfortable would be an option because for daunting, the opposite must be easy. So you have to see what will be the closest word that will go with easy. These are often part of reading comprehension passages also. How to prepare for them? Actually, for all English questions, you need to read a lot. For word meaning based questions, it will be great if you can read a lot and whenever you find a word that you're not sure about, even if you think you know the even if you think you know what it means, it is a good idea to still refer a dictionary to know for sure. This will help you learn the word meanings better. Second, you should learn word roots from a good source. Word roots are very, very important. A single word root can help you understand multiple words and what they can mean. Word roots are like origins from which many words come in. Words are formed. Norman Lewis' book of word roots is a very, very good one, and we would refer you use that book. If that book is not available, you can simply look up online and you will find multiple word roots that are important to learn. You can go through them, a few of them each day, and be prepared for word meaning based questions. Next, we come to grammar based questions. Now, grammar based questions are important, and this is one section where you can do learning with a teacher, like you do in LR or quantitative aptitude section. For LR and quants, it is always good to have guided learning, where a teacher can help you explain the concepts as he helps you practice the questions, like what Gaurav sir does for you. So grammar is one section where guided learning is important. Reading comprehension and word meaning based questions those are the areas where a lot of self effort is required. A teacher might not be able to help you as much. But grammar based section is rules based, concepts based. So this is where a teacher can help you more. Now, what are the typical questions asked in a grammar based section of an English exam? Choose the correct sentence from the options given below, or alternatively, choose the incorrect sentence from the options given below. Rearrange the words below to form a correct sentence. So you will have to give one A, this part should come first, two, this part should come next, three, this part should come. You have to rearrange the words to form a correct sentence. Third, choose the sentences below to form a coherent paragraph. How's that grammar based? For example, you should not go on a pronoun before you've introduced the noun. So you will know that your sentence should have a noun first. Then it can have conjunctive words or it can have pronoun words in the following sentences. It should have a good ending. So, how a sentence is formed is very important. If you want to do this type of question, choose the sentences below to form a coherent paragraph type of questions. Identify the incorrect word in a sentence below. Identify a specific part of speech in the sentence below. Now, to do grammar based questions well, what all do you need to learn? I'll just take you through that. Grammar section is the part where guided learning can really help you a lot. Similar to how guided learning helps in LR or DI or quants. There, if you practice questions along with concepts, they really help you a lot. This is the case with grammar based questions also. What are important grammar concepts that you need to know? Well, they are listed below. Most important topic is sentence construct. There is a subject part in a sentence and there is a predicate part. Subject part is the important noun part or a thing or a person you are going to talk about. That's the subject part. Predicate is what you are going to talk about. For example, there's a sentence, little boy sat in a corner. So little boy is the subject in it. Sat in a corner is the predicate of the sentence. When you're rearranging sentences or when you're correcting the sentences, this thing becomes very important. Sentence, understanding sentence construct. Classification of sentences is also important. There are many ways to classify a sentence, but two main ways are listed here. You can have a simple, compound, or a complex sentence type. Alternatively, sentences are also classified as declarative, interrogative, imperative, or exclamatory, based on what they're what they're trying to do. For example, declarative is a simple statement sentence. Interrogative is a question sentence. Imperative is a command or a request. For example, go is a complete sentence in itself because you is the assumed subject and imperative uh, part is go. It's a command. Exclamatory sentences are that show immense amount of feelings. Hurrah! They typically have such words. Oh, hurrah! Wow! And all those kind of sentences. Now you can put what you want to say in an active voice or in passive voice. For example, can you pass me the pen? Can you give me a pen? That's an active voice. It's a simple. Can you give me a pen? What will its passive voice be? May I please be given a pen? May I please be given a pen? Passive voice is usually not the preferred voice. It is usually used when we want to show extreme respect for the person in front of us. So that's the common usage of passive voice these days. Nowadays, active voice is the preferred voice because it makes the sentence simpler. Now, there can also be direct and indirect parts of speech. Direct form, for example, is where you're listing what the person said as it is within quotes. She said, comma, I am, in within quotes, I am tired. She said, I am tired. That's the direct form. What will its indirect form be? She said that she was tired. Parts of speech are extremely important in English grammar. There are 8 parts of speeches. They are nouns, sangya, pronouns, subnoun, verbs, kriya. Verbs with verbs, tenses are also important. Verbs are the most important part of a sentence. There are main verbs, there are auxiliary verbs, and they're extremely important. A sentence is not complete unless it has a verb in it. Adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, interjections. Now, nouns are some verbs are sometimes used as nouns, adjectives are sometimes used as nouns, and vice versa. Those are the concepts that are advanced concepts and covered under the heading of gerunds, infinitives, and participles. Articles are again a very important concept. They completely change the meaning of a sentence. For example, see, we are covering articles. I'm giving you an example for articles how the complete meaning of a sentence is changed by a simple word a. Aunt said, I have a little time to discuss this now. Versus, this sentence means I have some time to discuss this time. I do have some time. Even if I have little time, I do have time. But if you remove a in it, I have little time to discuss this now. This practically means I have no time to discuss this now. See what change a simple word a brought to the sentence? It absolutely changed the meaning of the sentence. That is why grammar is important. Gerunds, infinitives, and participles are important concepts that show how verbs are used as nouns, etc. Punctuations are very important. Capital letters, commas, semicolon, colon, full stops. Comma is amongst the most difficult punctuation to use. It can change the meaning of the sentence and it is often very wrongly used. Well, that was my introductory session for today. I will like to emphasize for word meaning based questions and for reading comprehension based questions, you will have to help yourself. You will have to read a lot, you will have to practice a lot, but that is where guided learning may not help you very much. You will have to do it on your own. However, if you need support with grammar, that is something you must seek. In case you want me to take you through grammar concepts, please let Gaurav sir know through the comment section below. That's it. So we are through with our introductory session. Happy reading, happy learning, and wish you all the best in your efforts of cracking that coveted exam you want to crack. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon. Thank you. Bye bye.